Dave, first, just with Will Smith, you have him in as the DH again tonight. What's kind of the plan with him, and when do you see that he's going to be ready to be behind the plate again?
Will start tomorrow behind the plate, and the thought was he's only going to catch one of two, the day game after the night game, so just to give him an extra day, and then get him back in there tomorrow.
Do you have to kind of be mindful when it comes to him with how many days he can go back to back when he's behind the plate, or do you feel like he's built up to go multiple? You have to get to that point still.
I think that as far as the concussion protocol, all that stuff, I think that's behind us. And then it's a question of how we feel about the body bouncing back. So I think the thought of having him catch a day game to then have the time to recover for the night game, I feel good about him doing that. And then I think from there we'll go from there and kind of read and react.
Just considering that, like, Will's already had a concussion, JD's already had some back issues. Like, when JD's healthy, is there a consideration to DH Will a little bit more, just to protect him a little bit, protect JD's back a little bit too?
I think once JD gets back, we'll talk about that. That just came up out of nowhere. Obviously, Will's concussion came up after one game. So now, as we know more information, certainly there could be some thought to that.
How is JD doing? Has he been able to pick up the bat or anything like that yet?
No, he's laying low. So we just felt that since we made the decision to put him on the IL, we'll take the time to put it to bed, and I don't know when he's going to swing a bat though.
Are you hopeful that it'll be 10 days with him, or is it kind of too early to determine kind of maybe when he'll be back?
I'm hopeful. I think Friday is the 10 days, I think. So we're hopeful that he'll be ready to go on Friday.
And then Miguel Rojas, where is he going to play today?
So he is playing 5 innings of shortstop for the Rancho team. I think they're on the road at Inland Empire, and he'll play 5 innings and take some at bats, and then we'll see how it goes tomorrow. And the hope is that he'll be back with us on Monday.
Dave, would you have brought Gratterall back for another inning if Vargas doesn't hit that home run?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were kind of making that decision with 2 games in mind tonight.
Yeah. I think that a lot of times, if you have the opportunity to try to, maximize the arms to win multiple games, in that situation, he put the fire out. We tacked on having Shelby, behind him. We felt it was good to have now Brewstar ready to go today.
Dave, you said in the past with players, when it comes to knowing and finding out who they are, is when things don't go as well for them. Is this one of the tests for James Outman?
Yeah, it is. But I think for me, I already know the answer. It's been a tough few games for James, but even today, just coming in fresh and positive, expecting something good to happen, as opposed to kind of running away, hiding. So for me, you do learn from players once you have a little bit of struggle, but our expectation is that James is going to be just fine.
Are you seeing anything different about the way he's being attacked?
Not necessarily. I think in Pittsburgh, I think Keller was going hard on him, velocity up, cutters in, and these guys are clearly trying to spin him. And so it's been different, and I think that right now it seems like every borderline pitch is going against him. And when you're not going well, that's what happens.
What have you learned about Vargas? Because the season didn't start out the way it started out for Outman, and it seems like he's starting to come out of it.
I think he is. I think that Miguel had to deal with that thumb. I think there was a little bit more to that than he probably led on, but to his credit, wanted to keep playing and being there. But yesterday specifically, I saw much better aggressive swings. Even the foul ball that he fouled off on the 0-1 breaking ball before the homer, I thought was an aggressive swing. So, we're going to keep running him out there and show that we believe in him. But he's a heck of a player, and I just think that he's got to continue to be aggressive at the plate.
Do you feel like he was too timid, just considering he wasn't swinging to start spring training at all, and obviously we've tried a lot of walks early on, so we gained some success there. Do you think that was sort of bled into maybe a slower start for him?
Yeah, I think that there's a little bit of passivity, which I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth because he was taking walks and controlling the strike zone. I do think that the thumb took away a little bit of aggressiveness with the bat speed. So when he was firing, he was a little late and not as aggressive with the bat. But I think it was at the thumb for me.
How tough is it kind of seeing what he's doing? Obviously learning big league pitching, but obviously on the defensive end, kind of getting reacquainted with second base and playing at this level. How difficult is that for a player to handle both of those things?
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, we've had to do it with Will Smith. We've had to do it with Gavin Lux. Cody Bellinger had an easy transition. But it's not easy. Playing a position essentially that you really haven't played a whole lot. Learning the pitchers that you haven't seen. The third deck, not phasing them. Playing here, not phasing them. So I just want him to just, trust the skill set. And if he does that, he'll be okay.
Going back to Will for a second, you're obviously catching Noah tomorrow. We talked a lot about the volume of steals against him. Do you go into the Noah start now kind of expecting that Will is going to have to be throwing and be ready for that?
Yeah, I think so. Will's our best thrower, and so to be paired with Noah is a good thing. But with that said, they're still going to take some chances regardless of who's behind the plate.
Vargas turning the double play maybe a little better than you expected?
He has. His pivot has been really good. That one last night, for months to start that one and to make that turn from Miguel was as good as it can be. So he's put in a lot of work. Dino's worked with him a lot, and that's as good as a turn as I've seen.
With JD out, what are your plans for DH, when Smith's not there?
I think that if we can get Austin in there catching versus a left-handed pitcher, to have Will be the DH, and then either Jason, David, some left-handed hitter, kind of filling that role.
With Rojas, you mentioned play today. Is it tomorrow off, or is there a chance he would play 2 weeks?
He's off. He's not going to play the field tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's a chance that if he feels good that he can DH tomorrow. He'll take a few at bats.
James, with Kershaw, is this the best he's felt physically to start the year in a couple of seasons, 2 or 3 seasons?
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. Yeah. To the question, it's hard to kind of go back to every April, but I do think that in recent memory, this is as good of a winter, as good of a spring, and as good of an April as he's felt. Yeah.
How important has the first pitch strike been for him this year? This is the last few starts.
You know what, Mike? I don't know the exact numbers, but it's always important to him. And he's just really good at acquiring strike one, and that's a big key to his success.
Go back to Rojas. How much shortstop do you expect Mookie to play once Rojas is back?
I think a couple times a week is fair. Because I think with Miguel, I don't feel comfortable running him out there every day anyway, and so whether it's CT or Mookie taking that down, I feel good, but. I think once he gets back and I look at matchups and what gives the best chance to win that day, I can give you a better answer. I just can't really, I don't want to put myself right now. I don't know that answer right now.
Is that just because of the injuries that he's sustained?
Yeah. There's a lot of soft tissue, and we got to find a way to keep him healthy.
Is he going to be used as a late inning defensive replacement? Maybe
sure.
More than he is?
Yeah, absolutely.
Since he was out here, Dave, where is Walker in his program right now?
Walker, from what I heard, he touched 88 miles an hour today on flat ground, so that's pretty impressive. So he got out to, I think, 150 today, felt good. Took in a basketball game yesterday up in the Bay, and he's doing all right.
Sounds like he's pretty close then. I'm guessing since he's at 150, the amount is somewhat close.
I don't know that answer, but I hope that's the case.
Is he living his best life, Dave?
He's living his best life, Mike.
And Dave, today you're facing the best left-handed hitting team in the league. You guys are towards the bottom. What's your assessment of the bats against lefties this season, and what are you hoping to see against Montgomery tonight?
Montgomery's good.
Yeah.
You know, he's got a good fastball. He's got 4 pitches. Has had his way with left-handed hitters. I think for us, it's. I thought we had a really good approach against Flaherty yesterday, and we've had a tougher time putting 2 offensive performances together. But I think he's going to spin our guys and just try to. Not chase below. If we can get him up in the zone, I think we should fare pretty well tonight.
Yeah, and then with Trace drew a big walk against lefty yesterday. Talk about the angles during spring training. What have you seen from him so far against Southpaws?
Trace is trying to figure it out versus lefties. I think that certain lefties try to crowd him. The Romero tried to crowd him, got behind the count. Then Trace did a good job of taking the changeup down below. So he's been working really hard. So I think that Montgomery is going to try to do a little bit more of the same. But it is an angle thing with Trace, with the lefties versus the righties. But I still believe he's going to figure it out.